Hi, everybody. This is Bill Soroka, founder of NotaryCoach.com and the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. This edition of Profiles in Ink brings you Alexander Spano from New Jersey. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing excellent. I know we got a little chance to talk ahead of time, and I'm so excited to share your insight, your wisdom, and your business strategies with our audience because you kind of epitomize the multiple streams of revenue. And I really want to jump into that. You've done a lot of great things, lots of years of experience in here. So you now own Prime Consulting Services out of New Jersey, which I know is a umbrella of different services. And you have 18 years as a notary. Can you tell me a little bit about your business right now?
Sure. Our business here in New Jersey actually started off with myself. I started off this company about 9 years ago. This company has grown and leaps and bounds, the more than I ever really expected it, to be honest with you. It's actually pretty shocking on how well things really kind of worked out on the way that we strategized and worked this company out. It started off with myself, and in the past few years, we brought on quite a bit of people on. So it's mainly a family business. So it's me. My mother's our CFO. Got to do something in retirement. She loves numbers, so couldn't bring on anybody better. My brother is my other business partner. He handles more of the northern New Jersey area and the northeastern Pennsylvania realm. And my son and myself are down here in South Jersey, the greater Philadelphia area, where we handle a lot of these signings that we do all down here. That's
great. So you guys are all basically signing agents that work not just in New Jersey, though, because I find that kind of interesting, too. You guys can be licensed or commissioned in multiple states, right?
That is right. We're duly commissioned in both states. That's correct.
So Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and is New York included in that, or is it just?
Yeah. No, my brother's he actually does New York also as well. So we choose not to do with Delaware down here in South Jersey area because that is an attorney state, so we really just typically don't even bother with it over there.
That's great. I love that. So your brother can be commissioned in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. With satellite offices that he has, he does 1099 work for certain companies and things like that. Yeah, through the state, they do allow him to be commissioned in other states.
Awesome. And then you plan to expand, right? To take the signing services a little bigger?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're doing all of our signings right now primarily ourselves. We have been brokering out some deals from some of our closer knit title companies that we do business with. They're asking us to reach out and help them find quality notaries around the country. So with that being said, my mother wants to kind of grab the reins on her portion of it and actually starting the actual signing service nationwide to locating notaries and actually passing through the documents and actually, working with the title companies and doing the invoicing and all the billing and everything for them in that realm. So
yeah, it's quite a process, and it's taken you've started this 9 years, so it's basically taken you about 9 years to come to the point where you want to expand nationally, right?
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it's to a point to where, again, I could only handle so much business myself to where then I brought on my brother, and he actually quit his job that he was very, very good in his industry at the time. In photography, actually, in graphic designing in the photography realm, where he chose to jump on and work with me and start building up the company because we're building so rapidly. Now he's just even exceeding what he used to be earning wise at the other company. And then with my brother and I on board, it started getting to be a little too much. We couldn't handle a lot of the administrative stuff. So we took our mother out of retirement and brought her in and made her the CFO of the company. And now my son just recently turned 18 last August, and now the first thing he decided to do was to go ahead and get his notary commission and get licensed and certified as a signing agent. He turned 18 in August. By the end of September, he was a signing agent. He attended some of my classes. I teach the class also, so he attended some of my classes, and there he is. I mean, now he's 6 months later. This kid he's got a career for life, and he just absolutely loves it. I mean, it's either this or working at McDonald's, and I think he made the right choice.
Well, I love that he made that choice so young, because so many young people resign themselves to the $10, $12 an hour jobs. And how many signings did he do last week?
He did 16 signings last week. He had 18, two of them canceled. So he had 16 signings just last week alone. So he's loving it. I gotta be honest with you, he's loving it. He really is. He does pretty damn well for an 18-year-old, and he is a full-time student. So I mean, he does.
Wow.
That's the beauty about the being a signing agent, is the fact that it's such a flexible career. It's just you take the jobs that you can to fill in the gaps of your day if you have something else going on, or if not, he just juggles the two at the same time. A couple of his classes he takes online. So it's like he could, so this way, and now he's talking that maybe in the fall he may want to go to school full-time online, just so he could focus more time during the day or early evening and just doing settlements, and then he could spend 3 or 4 hours at night doing his schoolwork, and do it that way. So I mean, see how it works out.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I would have had my crap together that young back then, because who knows where we'd be right now. But you're right. This is the flexibility of this job, I think, is really one of the big attractors. The fact that you can make unlimited income when you really put in the hustle is nice. And this is a legitimate business, right? This is something that we could talk about and be proud of. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to you, because I spent 12 years on Wall Street. I was in the financial district in New York for many, many years. I started when I was 17 years old, wearing a suit and tie going to high school, because right after school I went and interned for a company way back when. It was called Payne Weber, if anyone remembers the name of that one. But it was a investment firm, Payne Weber, and was on Wall Street by the time I was 21, and stayed there for about 12 years. And it was my lifelong dream to be on Wall Street. I wanted to be Gordon Gekko from the movie Wall Street. It's like that was my dream to be there. And once you're there and everything, I mean, I had a couple fallouts, unfortunately. Some medical situations kind of put me aside for a while, and it kind of opens up your eyes to start realizing what you want to do the rest of your life. And I just realized that I didn't want to sit in an office the rest of my life. It's not what I wanted. It just felt like prison after a while. It just felt like, you're just reporting to a prison every day. So it's either that, or I could be driving around from appointment to appointment with the top off my Jeep and loving the sun. So I built the life that I wanted, and that's where I am today. There's some sort of fulfillment that really comes into when you build something of your own, and just the passion that comes along with it. It's much, much different than just going to work and collecting a paycheck.
Oh man, I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, it really is. It's really just a great obsessive feeling that you get after a while, that you built something and you did it yourself, and you don't have to report to anybody, and you don't. Yeah, well, technically I report to my mother now, but I kind of did that in my own life anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
No, really, it really is just something just great, something to be proud of, and then one day it will come to a point to where I'm going to pass the reins over to my son, because I may just end up growing and going into some other fields, or doing something else in some of the other business ventures that we have that, I mean, maybe by the time he's 21 years old, he may just take over the whole signings area.
Exactly.
And at 21 years old, this kid's got an income stream and his own business that now he can be proud of and grow and build on his own, and go ahead and run with it.
I love it. We're building more than just transactions, right? In your case, you're building a legacy for your family, for your son to take over. Now, you mentioned, now we kind of made a jump to the signing side, but you've been involved in mortgages on one way or the other quite a bit, right? Inside and out.
Yeah, I would say since about 1998, I started really becoming a little more interested in mortgage area. I had a friend of mine who owned a mortgage shop and asked me to kind of just do some cold calling for him in the evening, and maybe he knew my sales skills, and he wanted some help with his shop and getting some more business in the door at the time. So so he asked me to come on board and start training some of his people there in his staff, and on some of the sales in it. And then I started seeing how simple and easy it was. So I said, well, maybe on the side, I'll start selling some mortgages. Why the heck not? So I started pushing myself as a loan officer. So I started off doing that there. And then after 9/11 happened, obviously a lot of things changed in the industry, and in myself too, as injuries and things like problems like that ended up coming about that laid me out for a little while. That I ended up owning my own broker shop. Then I owned my own mortgage processing company. And then after a while, a couple, an institutional banker, actually, a couple of them did, but this one that I went with contacted me. They wanted somebody to do national sales for them in the subprime industry, which at the time sounded great, right? Until until 2008, when that whole debacle happened, and unfortunately the chips all came down. And from the ashes of that is when I started building my company and started becoming more self-employed and on my own.
I love that. And you've been through, I mean, from one end of the spectrum to the other in mortgages, but you said something interesting when I first chatted with you today, that this is your favorite part, is being the loan signing agent. Why is that?
Yeah, the back end, I noticed that you have retail, which you're a salesman, and then you have the institutional banker, which is more schmoozing and handing out of money and doing things like that. Then you have the mortgage processing side, which is a lot of service oriented stuff. Then you have your title insurance side, also in title insurance too, if I skipped over that, and then deal with the title insurance and stuff. The thing I like best about all those industry is where I'm in right now, which is the tail end of it, because it has the least amount of responsibility, but the most gratification I feel. I love the fact that when I'm done with the settlement, like I just did this afternoon, for example, handing people the keys at the closing table and saying, congratulations, you own a home. It's like there's something gratifying about that. And the fact that, even a simple refinances and things like that, you really don't have that level of responsibility that you have when you're a licensed individual in other realms. I'm not loan origination licensed anymore. I'm not a title insurance licensed anymore. I'm not an attorney at all. I can't discuss any of these things with you at the closing table. That's not my responsibility. Right. I'm there to do three main things as a notary signing agent: identify, witness, and sign. Those are my three main responsibilities. Now, I go a little bit more into that. It's more of an entertaining realm where I like to explain documents. I'm allowed to present documents and explain the document by its definition of its title, for example. But, I can't go into the intricacies of your interest rate. Right. I can't go into the intricacies of the mortgage and its paperwork and 18 pages of a mortgage and go into the legalities of it. I would be operating the unauthorized practice of law, for example, here in New Jersey. It's called Opinion 41. I can't do that. I'm not a loan officer. I can't go into your interest rate and discuss to you the terms of your mortgage and go into your amortization schedule and this and that, what you do with the numbers and where we did that consolidation, where you could save money here. It's not my job. It's not what I do. Right. I'm here to show you where to sign. And I like to kid and say to people that when I go to parties or if I meet people, they say, what do you do for a living? And I say, I wait for people to email me paperwork. I show up at someone's house, they sign it, I put it in an envelope, and I go home. That's what I do for a living. It's the greatest benefiting job in the world.
I like the super simple there. And yeah, when we teach it over here, we just call it briefly describing the documents. Right. And tying in that personality. That's one of my favorite parts is we don't have that responsibility. So we don't have to own too much of that transaction. We can actually focus on the fun part, which is the people. And then, of course, making sure we sign, date, and initial correctly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that was really cool and interesting about your business model is you are clearly someone who has fully embraced the importance of creating multiple streams of revenue. Do you mind if we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, so right now I know you have the individual signing company. We talked a little bit about how you're going to grow into the national signing company, which is exhilarating in itself. Tell me a little bit more about the other ventures you guys have going on.
Well, sure. I mean, when it comes to more on the real estate side, like for example, we also own a media company. It's called Sensor Media. And media company, my son actually runs that also. He's actually owned this company since he's 16 years old. Been running it since he's 16, and he does a photography and video footage for real estate agents for renting and showing of houses. He does a lot of drone footage on open lot lands and warehouses and a lot of stuff like that. So he's got 3 drones actually, a nice big one. Then he's got these 2 smaller mini ones, which sometimes he runs them both at the same time, which is pretty amazing because you can get right there real-time view right there. And with the live feed, it actually shows up right at the realtor's office while clients are sitting in their office. He's got a real-time feed going right to them, right there. So with these drones up in the air, he actually gets to do all that. And he also does like VR technology, 360 technology. So if someone can't show a house, they have a walkthrough video of it. You can put the goggles on right there at the real estate's office and actually walkthrough of the property right then and there, just like that. So yeah, it's a lot of geeky stuff in there, but my son, he really loves doing all that stuff.
Talk about finding something that's symbiotic in the industry too. I mean, the contacts that you make on the real estate side and leveraging those on the loan signing side, I'm sure that's a perfect fit.
It's a lot like on the retail side, you call it cross-selling. Is that there's a lot of cross-selling in that. Here's more about cross-retention of clients. If I do a real estate settlement with somebody and there's real estate agents there, we do hand out the business cards for that multimedia purposes. So in case they need to show houses in future, they can look us up and actually use those services at that point too. In addition to still using us for settlements.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. What else you got going on?
Well, we also own a mediation firm. It's called Resolved Mediation and Settlement Services. So we are also mediators. My brother and I are actually nationally licensed mediators, and we mediate a lot of cases. Bread and butter cases are going to be our the divorce cases that we do. Obviously, those are, you could throw a rock and hit 10 divorce cases. It's pretty simple. But we really do enjoy a lot of our real estate cases, a lot of contract negotiation, a lot of contract disputes, things like that go along at the closing table, or maybe perhaps outside the closing table. They need to get back to the closing table. They'll call our services in and contract negotiations and stuff with people. We also do some HR disputes that we do between companies and employees, things like that, a couple of union cases, kind of things like that. So basically wherever there's a resolution that needs to be done, they'll bring us in, an argument or resolution that they'll bring us in. Where the tie-in on that comes in from being a notary, it's funny how it's like you start off as a notary and yet it's like this whole branch of so much industry comes out. People don't realize as being, when I teach in my classes, when I teach notary, you tend to think notary is the little old lady at the library. No offense to the elderly at all, but would be that she's just a notary. That being a notary is a six-figure career if you have the desire to do it. I start off my small business entrepreneur class by saying, if I handed you a broom today, can you make $50,000 a year with a broom in your hand? It's a rhetorical question, but the bottom line is if you have desire, you can make anything happen. So being a notary with a pen and a stamp, can you go make a six-figure income out of it? Depends on the type of person that you are.
Yeah, and the amount of hustle you're willing to put in, right?
Exactly. Now, being a mediator, tying into being a notary, for example, when I'm at a closing table for a purchase deal, for example, and you have a buyer and a seller, and you have a realtor, perhaps an attorney on each side, you're that mediator. That's what you are. You don't represent the buyers. You don't represent the sellers. Technically, you don't even represent the title company or the lender. You're there as the mediator to that transaction. You are facilitating two sides of negotiations, in this case, paperwork, money exchanges, things going back and forth. That's where you go. It's really no different being a mediator. When I'm there handling a divorce case, for example, I'm not there representing the wife or the husband or either spouses on either side. It doesn't matter. I'm there. These are the issues at hand. I'm here to help you and guide you to get a resolution. And that's what I'm there for, to get a final answer so the transaction is complete.
Just a completely neutral, independent third party. What's interesting about this, I call it my notary funnel, right? Because I am meeting people constantly on a daily basis, just getting the opportunity to build these relationships. And that's really what you're doing, right? No matter what role or what hat you're wearing, you are meeting people. And now you have all these different ways that you can be of service to them. So you meet somebody as a notary, but you have the mediation service. So you're meeting attorneys and real estate agents and loan officers all the time to essentially at some point cross-sell or build a relationship with them. Am I understanding how that works for you?
Yep, definitely is. Everything all really kind of ties in together. And even when it comes to the other facet we do, like for example, I'm a professor in 3 colleges. So when I teach like 7 different business related subjects, and even through that, it all kind of ties into going back into one realm of my business or another, from the classes that I teach, for whether it's time management, or I do public speaking class. I have a small business entrepreneur class. I teach notary training here in the state of New Jersey. I do a loan signing agent class I teach. I do supervisory and management skills, and also private corporate training. So and the Top Gun sales class also, another sales class also as well. So it's a lot. It's funny. I just got my this afternoon. I just got my fall schedule. Just came out for one of my colleges I'm teaching at, and it looks like every Wednesday and Thursday night, no one's going to hear from me.
Well,
it's in the classroom somewhere.
I love that you're teaching time management, because man, that is a lot of stuff to have to juggle and still thrive on it. I love that you're able to pull this off.
I follow a code. I was a big boxing fan of myself when I was younger, but still, Sugar Ray Robinson was a great boxer. And besides that, after his career, he actually was a very good businessman. And he always had this one term, which was plan your work and work your plan. And that's primarily what it all comes down to. You plan your work and you get yourself on a good timeline to schedule. I know it sounds very, how do you call it? I hate to use the word, but to be really, really on schedule all the time and really following that same plan, and you're going to walk the blueprints of success. It'll definitely happen.
That is absolutely the key to everything, right? You got to honor your time, because nobody else is going to do it. So,
and well, most importantly, it's time for yourself and the people around you too. It's not always about work. I mean, I admit I'm a workaholic, but I need time. I do need to have time with me, my son, even though we work together. We need to have playtime together. We need to have time together. We're leaving next month to Key West for 6 days. It's just like, we need to have time just for each other outside of work. It's very, very important to still have that downtime.
I love that you brought that up, because we've got to remember why we work so hard, right? And
exactly.
There's usually some loved ones involved in that. So we don't want to work ourselves into the grave without enjoying why we're the fruits of our labor. Now, before we wrap up, I want to go back to the multiple streams of revenue, because within your notary realm, you have really also embraced multiple streams within that. So not only do you do the loan signings, but you're doing general notary work and other kinds of appointments too. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I teach my loan signing agent class, or when I teach my notary class, there's a section of my notary class on how to earn and make money. And I usually tell people, there's so many different areas that you can make money. It's unbelievable. Even areas that I'm not even dabbling into yet, which one day I'm thinking I will, because I already have 4 or 5 other businesses in my head that are just waiting to bust out. But yeah, I mean, we don't just dabble just in the real estate industry. We do a lot of paralegal work also, where we do a lot of field agent stuff. We'll go out as paralegals and actually do some like take depositions and have affidavits signed and deliver courthouse documents and stuff, and do a lot of work like that. Do injury cases. We'll do structure settlements, signings and stuff like that. Structure settlements, debt settlements. I'm sure a lot of notaries get a lot of calls for that also as well. You do a lot of debt settlements, and also big and growing lately is a lot of the auto sector, a lot of the automobile signings. Those are actually growing a lot. My son actually has been getting quite a bit of those, actually, especially out of this one area of the country. For some reason, it tends to be like they're constantly always calling us. I guess they have a good sales it's down in the southeast of the United States that they keep calling us up here to go to people's house. They overnight us the car dealership paperwork, and you're just showing up and having it all signed and send right back. I mean, that's it. And then they deliver the car to them. I mean, so that's actually growing more and more as people are buying automobiles online. It's actually a growing field also as well.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Definitely exciting. And guys, those who are listening, I also just want to reiterate, and I'm sure, Alex, you'll be right there with me, is that every state can be different on all these different various revenue streams. So make sure you do your research, especially when it comes to the legal document preparation, these vehicle contracts and things like that. But this gives us a lot of ideas. And I love, Alex, what you really demonstrated is just the possibilities that we can do in this. I mean, you've been doing this particular business for 9 years. And really, you just a true demonstration of everything that can be done in it. And you're also a professor at 3 different colleges, and you're making this work. So thank you for your time today. Now, if people wanted to get a hold of you, Alex, where could they do that?
Sure, they could always they could go ahead and try go ahead and email me. That'd be great. I mean, you go ahead and email me at AHSPANO at primenotary.net. That's PRIME notary.net. If not, you can look me up on LinkedIn, and feel free to go and shoot me a message if you have any questions, please.
Awesome. Alex, thank you so much for your time today and sharing so much of your business and your passion for this business too. And also thank you for teaching so many notaries up in New Jersey. I know that's much appreciated and much needed up there, and I'm looking forward to hearing a lot more from you.
Definitely. Thanks so much, Bill. It's great talking.